Good early morning, everybody. It's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on October 15, 2025. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for subscribing. Well, let's see what happened over the last 24 hours. Well, this evening, and this is always the case, I'll be in the Cats building, and this is another reason why I need to move. I was in the Cats building cleaning up, vacuuming. I come out, go in to check on my chickens and whatever. The criminals have been in the chicken coop. They took down all the perches. There was a bracket on the wall, which they have now taken down 3 times, bending it backwards, that was holding a perch. So I had to go in there in the dark with my flashlight and nail it back on the wall. But this is what happens here in Jackson County, Kentucky, when you've got cloaked criminals stalking you in the middle of the night while you're taking care of your animals. It just goes to show you that they did steal my hen. Make no mistake about that. But anyway. And then, when it got darker, they decided they were going to spray some aerosols around the property as I'm closing up. So fortunately, I was wearing a turtleneck today, and I was able to cover my face as I'm finishing up my chores. As they're spraying aerosol, some perfumey neurotoxin in the air. Absolutely disgusting. So anyway, I want to continue reading Bridging the Gap about the gang stalking informants. So a lot of people are curious. Why do individuals become informants? Many informants do not understand, care, or even realize that the end consequence of this harassment protocol is to destroy a person. They're given orders about monitoring or following a target, and they will carry out the instructions that they're being provided to them. It's sort of like the military. You know, they're recruited at very young ages. They are mind controlled for sure. And they're order takers. They'll do whatever they're told. And according to Griggs, the former military wife, whose two interviews are on my channel, she said that her husband, who was always in a drunken stupor and kept a diary, would sometimes be given orders to delete somebody that they just didn't like. Yeah, that's right. The military. With your tax dollars, by the way. So why do individuals become informants? This is why your criminal neighbors want to become informants. 1. Some do it for the sense of power that it gives them. It's an adventure to be an informant for the state. 2. Others do this as a way to make friends and keep friends because they're such losers they can't make friends any other way. I added that. It's something social and fun for them to do. Many in society use the one-handed sign language to communicate, and it's very effective in breaking down race, gender, age, and social barriers. And I'm sure you all have the one-hand signal also, you know, like the middle finger. Number 3, others are forced, bullied, bribed, or blackmailed by the state or police into taking part. Informants are often used to set up and entrap targets to become informants themselves. 4, they're told that they're part of Homeland or national security and being used to keep an eye on dangerous or emotionally disturbed individuals, you know, like their own damn selves. They see themselves as heroic spies for the state. Number 5. I mean, all this is it's so laughable. It's like a joke. Others are just local thugs or confidential informants who are already being used for other activities, and their energies are just diverted over into assisting with these community spy programs. For example, some may be given the choice of spying for the state or the police versus going to jail. I guess that's what they do. They'll just be a spy, sell their souls. Others are told outright lies and slanders about the target to get them to go along with ruining the target's life. Many, however, are just average citizens who have been recruited by the state the same way citizens were recruited in the former East Germany and other countries. It's the way society is. Leave a comment down below if you've ever been approached to be a spy for the state or to be a gang stalker. What are some techniques used against targets? Well, there are dozens of techniques that are used to disrupt and destroy the lives of targets over time. Some are very subtle, while others are more overt and meant to be noticed. Here are a few of the most common techniques used. One, there's classical conditioning. Getting a targeted individual sensitized to an everyday stimuli. The targeted individual over a period of months or even years is negatively sensitized to an everyday stimuli, which is then used to harass them. It's used out in public to let them know they're constantly being monitored. Some examples of everyday stimulus might be used are sounds, colors, patterns, actions. For example, red, white, yellow, strips, pens clicking, key jangling, loud coughing, loud whistling, loud smacking or clapping of the hands together, cell phones, laptops. Honestly, guys, if this is happening to me, I'm not noticing. I don't hear people coughing, jangling keys. I don't hear whistling, smacking or clapping of hands. I mean, I guess I'm just too far away from everything. I don't even remember any of this happening in New Jersey. The only thing in New Jersey was vehicles would suddenly do a U-turn in front of me. That was weird. Let's see, 24/7 surveillance. The target at first is profiled to see where they live, work, shop, play, who their friends are, their family, coworkers, and neighbors are. The target's then followed around 24/7, and I can attest to that here in Jackson County, Kentucky on my farm, that right now I've got criminals on my property. They're cloaked, and yes, they go into chicken coops and tear down perches and steal your hens. These are psychotic, sick people. Vehicle and foot patrols are used while the target is out in public. If the target lives in an apartment, it will involve requesting the cooperation of neighbors or asking to use their flats or apartments while they relocate elsewhere. If you're a homeowner, they will see if they can enlist the aid of your neighbors. Oh, and they have. Informants will try to get close to targets or those around them. They will try to encircle the target. The cooperation of friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers will be gained. The target's communications will also be monitored. Yes, actually, almost every time I try to upload a video, the criminals intercept my keyboard so that I have to constantly upload and re-upload and re-upload and rewrite the heading. Yeah, they'll do it 2, 3, sometimes even 4 times because they're such losers. But the positive side of that is you can take a screenshot about how your screen is freezing as you're typing a heading. It's just more evidence. Surveillance is defined as monitoring, observing, or listening to persons, their movements, their conversations, or their activities or communications, recording such matters in surveillance by or with a surveillance device. Surveillance is considered covert if it is carried out in a manner calculated to ensure that the persons subject to the surveillance are not aware that it's taking place. There are 3 types of covert surveillance. And everybody who's targeted is covertly surveilled. I guess the length of time varies depending on the target, where you live, etc. So what they do is the isolation of said target. For this campaign to be successful, the target needs to be isolated from their circle of support. This is done via slander campaigns, rumors, innuendos, and lies. People in the target's community, friends, family, coworkers, will be told that the target is under investigation. In many cases, they will be told that the target is what the target is under investigation for. They might be told that the target is being investigated for drugs, laughable, theft, terrorism, I'm a person of interest, pedophilia, mentally unstable, emotionally disturbed, prostitute. The concerned family and friends are asked to not say anything about the investigation, and they're asked to cooperate by monitoring the target. And just by having conversations with ChatGPT, ChatGPT refers to me as a person of interest because I'm so interesting that they have to follow everything that I do. Noise and mimicking campaigns. Mimicking it, by the way, is a form of mockery. With these covert investigations, disrupting the target's life is part of the protocol that's used. The target's sleep will be interrupted with loud power tools, construction, stereos, doors slamming, electronic harassment, stomping on floors, banging, etc. Mimicking the actions of the target informants are primarily disrupting the target's ability to function properly. It's a form of mockery. If the target has less sleep or no sleep, they are vulnerable for car accidents. Well, I haven't driven in about 7 months. No, actually, it's almost going on a year that I have not driven into town, which is pretty amazing. Oh, that's another thing that happened. They drained my car battery again. It's the second time in about 2.5 weeks. So I'm going to have to call AAA to come give me another jump start. Many times the target might find it strange, but then they will dismiss it as just rude individuals or inconsiderate neighbors. That's what I did in New Jersey. Because I figured like so many people in New Jersey had moved from Staten Island after 9/11, and they were some of the rudest people on the planet. So I just figured it's just more rude Staten Islanders in New Jersey. The actions are often not noticeable to the untrained eye, but they could be psychologically degrading and damaging to the target over time. Seriously, like in New Jersey, I just thought that they were just more bad drivers that were, the one headlight that people were telling me about, I was clueless that it actually had any meaning at all. Until somebody, one of you guys, mentioned it to me the last time I was in town, which was almost a year ago. And one headlighted car was following me. Never noticed it before, clueless. I don't care. Everyday life breaks in street theater. Targeted individuals also complain about flat tires, sleep deprivation, drugging of their food, putting dirt on their property, checkmark, 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 home break-ins, checkmark times 10, strangers doing things in public to deliberately annoy them. I'm not in the public. These informants will be told to be at a specific place and time and to perform a specific action. Targeted individuals also complain about strangers in public talking about private things in their lives. Portions of telephone conversations will be repeated. Private discussions held in the home will be alluded to. The informants use this to create a sense of paranoia in the target. Well, suddenly, the weirdest thing is I started this video at 100% battery, and now suddenly I'm on a low battery. I can't imagine why that would happen, so let me just plug in my little device here. These actions individually might seem harmless to these citizen informants, but collectively these actions could be causing a great psychological trauma for the target. For example, blocking the target's path, getting ahead of them in line, cutting or boxing them in on the road, saying or doing things to elicit a response from targets. For example, it's like the death of 1,000 paper cuts. Oh, and speaking of paper cuts, they're very fond of cutting your skin while you're asleep or walking around in the house. And yes, I experienced this at 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, home I lived in for 30 years as the original owner. And I experienced it here too in Jackson County, Kentucky, where they will sting your body, cut your fingers, cut your nails, cut your hair, whatever it is. They use their weapons to destroy your physical body. And no, you are not crazy. It really is happening. and more people are speaking out and creating videos about this. The technology has existed for decades. So where does the support or funding for this come from? That's a lot of people asking, like, where's this coming from? How is it happening? Who's paying for this? Though gang stalking itself is unethical in nature, similar programs such as this in democratic countries and non-democratic countries have always been funded by the government. They are the only ones with enough money, coordination, and power to keep such a system in place. These coordinated efforts then join hands with others for this systemic form of control and harassment. And also, guys, I'm going to tell you that many cult members, you know, those cults, those Masonic cults, they have tons of money. How do they have so much money? Well, they charge membership fees, and they're thieves. They steal money, objects, possessions from targeted people, from the community. And they bribe people, coerce people, yet they're thieves. So ruling the community with an iron fist, savvy law enforcement types realize that under the community policing rubric, cops, community groups, local companies, private foundations, citizen informants, and federal agencies, they could form alliances without causing a public outcry. According to Covert Action Quarterly, summer of 1997. So that was obviously a publication taken from that publication. Under the guise of community-oriented programs, these unions are happening in many countries around the world. There's also governmental cooperation happening in many countries. This is why when targets move, they can be consistently tracked from one location to the next. So how do these participants communicate? Well, these informants, you know, the rat snitches, they like to be called all kinds of cute little names to make them seem like they're doing a good job, but basically they're rat snitches, little snitchy rats. These snitchy rats communicate in a number of ways. The following are some methods that informants use to prepare for covert foot surveillance. You know, like boots on the ground, criminals on patrol, the inhumane terrain team. As you will see, these are guidelines that informants should be following. They should be following. Should be following. As many targets are aware, however, these guidelines are not always adhered to. This unit is about performing covert foot surveillance operations in order to gather information, intelligence, or evidence. You know, because I'm so interesting. I'm a person of interest. So they have to see what my interests are. By snooping. They're peeping Toms and peeping Janes. They think they're James Bond and Jane Bonds with a little bun babes. That's what I call them, bun babes, because that's what they are. They walk around with they drive around with no makeup. Their black sunglasses, their tinted windows. They look like they just rolled out of bed because they get their little ringy dingy on the phone, their little phone, and they've got to run out to follow you around. So, you may be able to deploy from a vehicle or conduct a foot surveillance on a subject using approved techniques to gather information, intelligence, or evidence, negotiating hazards while remaining covert at all times and assisting your team members to remain covert too. There ain't nothing covert being done here except like the county lawyer and the property valuation manager, these sneaky little effers. Yeah, they're sneaky. But they're all getting called out. I don't care what you're doing, you little effers. I got your number. And I paid my property taxes, but I promise I'll be getting them back. You're expected to use a range of equipment suitable for the task, like cameras, radios, image intensifiers. You must maintain communication within the team using approved and recognized methods and be able to rejoin a vehicle covertly. The accurate recording of any information, intelligence, and or evidence gathering during the operation is also required. The purpose of conducting surveillance operations is to gather information, intelligence, of evidence, and therefore this unit links to Unit A 2A1, gather and submit information that has the potential to assist policing objectives, like going into my house and stealing my checkbook and check register. Oh, yes, they also stole my New Jersey license plates, and when I was moving, they stole my passport. After my mother passed away, they stole her driver's license. I was so pissed because obviously it had her photo on it, and I wanted that. The purpose of conducting surveillance operations is to gather information, intelligence, or evidence, and therefore, this is repeated, gather and submit information that has potential to assist policing objectives. So this is repeated again. What policing objectives? Conduct covert foot surveillance operations. The performance criteria is to meet the standard you provide researched, flexible, and plausible cover stories consistent with your appearance and the operational environment. That's why they go into your chicken coop, steal your hen, and then pull your perches off the wall and dent the bracket that the perch was perched upon. It's so intelligent. It makes an effective use of cover, distance, timing, and positions during surveillance operations to react to changing situations by employing appropriate tactics. Employ close control techniques where necessary to gather information about your chickens and hens and roosters and how your coop is set up, because this is so intelligent. It's so intelligent, and it evidences covertly and employs other appropriate surveillance techniques where necessary to gather information, intelligence, and evidence covertly to assist other team members about your chickens and hens and roosters, and remain covert throughout the surveillance operations. And where appropriate, coordinate your actions and communicate with other teams and individuals to maintain effective surveillance operations of your chickens, roosters, hens, and deploy them and rejoin vehicles covertly where used. Recognize the limits of the authority for the surveillance of your chickens, hens, and roosters, and take the appropriate action by stealing a hen in respect to changing circumstances. Appropriately documenting all actions, information, intelligence, and evidence in accordance with current policy and legislation. Communicate by radio, by telephone, using hand signals. Hey guys, I got the hen, the one with the little red saddle. They also communicate by using one-handed sign language. That's very similar in nature to what the Stasi in East Germany used. Many targets have described these hand signals as baseball or other signals, but they're mostly similar to what the Stasi used. So that's what we're dealing with here, guys. Now I'm on to Chapter 3, Covert Techniques. The following techniques are several types that are often used against targeted individuals. There are other techniques used, but these are some of the primary ones. The techniques are listed in alphabetical order. Okay, so we've got air stalking. Oh, how convenient, because, yes, helicopters are sometimes used to track targets that are on foot or in cars. They fly overhead and follow the targets from one location to the next. Well, actually, they just fly over my property. Sometimes they fly directly over my house. Some will monitor the target shortly after they leave their homes. The use of airplanes and helicopters are considered legitimate and can be used during surveillance operations. So I uploaded that video this evening as well, guys. Copter flying over my farm. It was loud, and I only caught the tail end of it because I was already in my house, didn't have my shoes on, didn't have my phone. So it was I already missed a large portion of that recording. But you got the gist of it. Brighting. As targets walk on the street, usually at night, informants will turn on their high beams. This might be flashed once or twice at targets. The idea is to intimidate the target and let them know they're being watched at all times. The idea is to create a sense of paranoia and fear in the target. I don't know, guys. Brighting does not create any paranoia or fear in me. That's why I buy blackout curtains, because, my criminal neighbor next door, who I have never met, by the way, who for almost 6 years, but it ended I think it was January of this year, the light finally went out next door. It was shining in my back window here. But again, I've got blackout curtains and blinds, so it doesn't bother me one bit. But it's gone. I guess whoever was getting paid next door is no longer on the payroll. Cell phone stalking. This is very common. A lot of targeted people have mentioned seeing people outside with their cell phones being pointed at them. I've seen this for sure in New Jersey. Cell phone stalking. Using a target's cell phone to track and monitor them. The microphone and video cameras on cell phones can be used to monitor targets. Even when the phone is off, the microphone can be used to listen into conversations. The camera can be used to view activity in the room, which is why most of the time my phone is on the floor or flat down. And right now, my laptop camera is covered. The stalking had happened to 2 other families. Let me back up here. Cell phones can also be used in conjunction with several internet programs to locate the targeted individuals within a few feet. Now, remember, this book was written in 2009. So he goes on to say, recently, now again, this is 2009, a family appeared on the Tyra Banks show to say that they had been stalked and monitored 24/7 using their camera phone. The stalking had happened to 2 other families in the area as well. A mob boss was also arrested after the microphone on his cell phone was used to listen into his conversations. Software was downloaded to his cell phone from his cell phone provider at the request of, take any guesses, guys? The FBI, my favorite bureau of instigation. They then listened into his private conversations even when the phone was turned off. This is why Faraday bags are really good. If you can afford to buy a little Faraday bag for your phone, stick it in there at night. Crowding or mobbing. When a target's in public, informants will usually try to box the target in. And they do this on the road also. They will surround the target in a square-like formation if possible. They will stand too close to the target or swarming them. Like a bunch of little busy bees. The idea is to surround the target at all 4 sides. Then there is directed conversations. These are conversations that informants will have out in public relating to the target and their personal lives. The informants will repeat things the target said in their home or on the phone. Just like Alexa. Do not buy an Alexa. If you've got Alexa, Alexa isn't a spy. Get rid of Alexa. My mother learned the hard way. My mother loved her Alexa, and she was so excited that, she could tell Alexa to play Frank Sinatra or turn the lights on or off or to call somebody. That was until she was home alone, and Alexa started repeating a conversation my mother had with my cousin earlier that day, and my mother freaked out, unplugged Alexa, and threw it in the closet. And yes, it was still in the closet, likely in the same spot, after my mother passed away and I had to clean out her apartment. Still there. Got rid of Alexa. For example, informant number 1. It's a shame Uncle Ed won't be able to come. Informant 2. Yeah, since he died golfing on Saturday. The target will just have learned about the death of a favored uncle, possibly named Ed, while out golfing. Electronic harassment. Electronic weapons are used on targets in their homes. A variety of weapons are used, including electromagnetic, microwave, acoustic, lasers, and other weapons. The purpose of using the EMF, electromagnetic frequency, on targets and their belongings, including your pets, are multifaceted. Electronic frequencies can destroy electronic equipment. And yes, I just had another dehumidifier destroyed. Electronic frequencies can be used for monitoring and tracking inside the home and at work, and it can also be used for purposes of sleep disturbance. When those conducting these covert investigations feel that they have psychologically destroyed the target to where they're near a breakdown, they will start to use these weapons. Emotional sapping. Not zapping, sapping. S-A-P-P-I-N-G. This is very similar to the concept of an energy or psychic vampire. And make no mistake, these guys are energy suckers. These are psychic energy vampires. They are addicted to chaos and addicted to your loosh. Negative individuals who drain the target's energy on a daily basis, or who are good at transferring negative energy to the target. Targeted individuals are being exposed to dozens of people on a daily basis, many of them who do not wish them well, or who want to hurt them even though they don't know them. Which to me, I am telling you guys, it still baffles my mind. That's because I'm normal. Without realizing it, targets are being emotionally, mentally, and spiritually harmed on a daily basis. After some time, this can weaken defenses. Targets at this stage are more susceptible to this form of energy drain. There are emotional shielding techniques that can be used to help try to prevent this. There are also lots of books being written about these types of negative energy draining people. Entrapment. To lure into dangerous, difficult, or compromising situations. The informants will try to lure targets into various situations for the sole purpose of setting them up. Oh yeah, like the poopynurse.com. Poopy nurse down the block. I was out sweating my butt off in my outer field with my, what was I using? My DR mower. And guess who pulls up on the county road? Walks out and says, "Do you know who I am?" I look at her and goes, "Yeah." She says, "You were talking about my son." I said, "I don't even know your son's name." Like the one who stuck his middle finger up at me. "Come out here. Let's duke it out here. Let's fight it out here." It's like I just like turn my head and like, this woman is a friggin' nutcase. So anyway, setting up targets could involve getting them arrested, institutionalized, set up on fake sexual harassment charges. Oh, that can't happen. There ain't nobody around here that I'd even want to even wink at, let alone have sex with. Oh my God. Fake sexual harassment charges, drug charges, illegal pornographic materials. I don't know, guys. Pornography it's so stupid. I don't even know why anybody looks at that garbage. Once this happens, it puts the targets at risk of becoming an informant themselves. Files. During covert investigations, files are opened on targets. These files might be shown to people in the target's close circle to help try to convince them to cooperate with the investigation. And this has been confirmed by Karen Stewart, a former NSA intelligence analyst. She had had a conversation with an officer, a police officer, I believe, who was a decent officer, and he basically said that he could not help her because he had file, that they carry around files with them on targeted people. And this is why, likely, when you FOIA request this information, you cannot locate the information. Aside from the fact that ChatGPT told me that you will never be able to get into these files because you have to be a very top level security clearance person. And those top level security persons just don't operate the FOIA requests. So they will never locate these files. Plus, the file's not going to have your name on it. You're going to be a number, a code name, or something else. So that's why they can't confirm or deny you're on a list, because the person who is looking for the information doesn't have the security clearance level to locate the information, locate those files. And if they did, the files would not necessarily have your name on it. Oh, also, lawsuit, right? Lawsuit. Okay, now this was former police officer Edward Hedden. This is a fact. Former police officer Edward Hedden at the Manalapan, New Jersey Police Department became targeted by the former chief of police Michael Fountain, who is a psychopath, alcoholic. But anyway, he had a little hockey club, and there's a little group of cops that joined this hockey club. Some of them didn't want to join the hockey club, so of course they get targeted another way. But anyway, so during one of these hockey club meets, the former chief of police, Michael Fountain, who is harassing everybody to score a goal, and mind you, I don't really know anything about hockey, so if I say goal and it's not a goal, just let it slide. So it's hockey, okay? So whatever it is in hockey, that's what it is. So he's trying to encourage his officers to do better. And he told his officers that if you score a goal, you can squeeze my girlfriend's, breasts. I'll use that word, breasts. And if you do this, you can do that. I won't go into all the details. We don't want it to be X-rated here. But this is all in the lawsuit that was filed. So it's all in writing. Anybody that wants a copy of the lawsuit filed against the Manalapan, New Jersey Police Department, Michael Fountain, and the Township of Manalapan by their former police officer, just email me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. And it is an interesting read. But let me fast forward, because in the lawsuit, after it was filed, this police officer was called an enemy of the state. They lied about everything. They sent other police officers to his home to surveil him, take away his even personal firearms, order him for a psychological evaluation, otherwise he could not return to work. Lied about him, and in the lawsuit specifically says that this chief of police collected dirt on all of his police officers to use against them if he needed to in the future. And these were all in files. So now, if this loser chief of police is collecting dirt on his own police officers, would it be such a far-fetched truth that he's also collecting dirt on all the divorced women in the community? Gaslighting. Informants constantly perform various actions to make the target paranoid, or in other cases think that they might be going crazy. Well, you're not crazy. These psychopaths, sadists, Satanists, losers are certifiably nuts. The program is crazy. These actions often include entering the target's home while they're out and moving things around, taking small items that have no value. Oh, well, that's not true. They have stolen more than $7,000 of items inside of my house last year. Documented. They're saying that because it won't be noticeable to the target. Gassing and poisoning. Informants will spray fumes or scents into the target's homes to harass them. Yes, that happens here in Jackson County, Kentucky. It's not only inside my home, though, it's on the property. They will tamper with the target's food and make them become ill. And yes, they do tamper with the food. So I highly recommend, to the best of your ability, buying single-serve foods, even though it's more costly. Illegal entry. During the course of covert investigations, targets might find that their homes or premises have been entered without their consent. It's used to help profile the target. To set up illegal surveillance. It's a way to find out intimate details about the targets. This can be used later to set up the target by using people in photo albums or by directed conversations about things in the target's apartment or home. Illegal surveillance. This involves setting up audio and some visual surveillance of the target. These methods are considered illegal and frequently used during covert investigations. Other methods include bugging the target's phone, surveillance in the target's residence, listening to cell phone and hard line conversations, hacking into their computers and learning about what the target is doing, sites they frequent. This also helps to build a profile of the target, and it's also used later to psychologically attack the target. Well, actually, we don't need these gang stalkers anymore because we've got AI. And as I've mentioned before, with Palantir, I think that fusion centers we won't need fusion centers anymore. What do you think, guys? Leave a comment down below. Do you think Palantir will take the jobs of these losers? Intimate infiltration. This is where informants will go out of their way to get into a target's life. They will try to form friendships with the targets. They will try to form intimate relationships with targets. That ain't happening here, I'm telling you right now. They will get very close to people that are affiliated with targets. Years before the target ever realizes that they're targets, they will try to get into a target's life. The East Germany Stasi use Romeo spies frequently to get close to female targets. Please send me a Romeo instead of these losers. There are no, what they do here in Jackson County, Kentucky, the Romeo spies are cats. They dump cats on my property, okay? And who knows, maybe the cats are microchipped. Maybe they have, those hidden cameras in their eyes. Who knows? Cats. Those are the Romeo spies on my property. For example, if they can't get into your life, but you have a best friend, their new significant other might just be an informant. The same goes for siblings and people that enter their lives. These methods were also used during Cointelpro and in East Germany with the Stasi. Isolation. For this harassment to be successful, it's important to be able to isolate the target from friends, family members, coworkers, and even spouses. To accomplish this isolation, many methods are used, including, but not limited to, slander, lies, fake files, sabotage, anything that will get the target into a situation where they have no support system. This is important for them to succeed. These methods were also used during Cointelpro, which never ended, by the way. Laser microphones. I'm hearing about this for the first time. I'm learning this for the first time. Laser microphones. Laser microphones are microphones with a laser beam. They detect vibrations with a laser and convert it to a digital signal. Lasers are usually bounced off of a window or any object near the conversation monitored. Any object which can resonate, vibrate, for example, a picture on a wall, will do so in response to the pressure waves created by noises present in a room. Oh, I've experienced that. They have vibrated my windows. This technology can be used to secretly eavesdrop on people with minimum chance of exposure. However, specialized light sensors may be used to detect the light from the beam, and the source is Wikipedia. Mail and email tampering. Oh, just check out my mailbox videos. What's in the mailbox, you say? Okay, what's in the mailbox this week? Oh, you open the mailbox, there's a bunch of wasps in there. No, go to open up the mailbox and there's a double-headed dildo with the word preacher on it. Next, open up the mailbox and there's a dead-skinned animal in there. Next, poopy diapers are dropped in the mailbox. Nah, we don't experience mail and mail tampering. Oh, yeah, like when I paid my land surveyor, they stole the check. Yeah, they stole the check. They had to find out who he was so they can co-opt him, which they eventually did do. They will delay the delivery of your mail. Check mark, check mark. They will also make sure that your mail does not arrive. Oh, yes. The other thing that they're known for is tampering of mail. They will delay mail, delete mail, and stop email that you have sent from arriving. Well, you know, like the Jackson County PVA, Bobby Edwards, claims that he sent me a notification that my property taxes were increasing from $0 to over $1,458. Didn't provide any reason for it, but no, I never received it. And because I have USPS informed delivery, I would have been informed of that delivery of mail. But I never received such informed delivery, nor did I receive the letter, because he's lying. He could not even produce the letter through a FOIA request. Mimicking. Informants will try to mimic the actions and activities of the targets. Oh, and I've got a great video on mimicry that is mirrored by another targeted person's channel. He actually sent it to me, gave me permission to post it. Mimicking. Informants will try to mimic the actions and activities of their targets. Informants will at times leave when the target leaves. They will sometimes try to dress like the target dresses. They will throw out the garbage when the target throws out the garbage. They might flush the toilet when the target flushes the toilet. They will at times try to mimic whatever the target is doing. This is all designed to be psychological warfare, so the target again feels like they are under observation at all times. Well, that doesn't happen here because I'm too far away from anybody. I would never be able to hear somebody flushing or throwing out their trash. I can't even see my neighbors. So they have to use other kinds of psychological warfare on me. Noise disturbances. This will include anything from doors slamming above or below the target, garbage disposal doors, car doors, loud stereo, stomping, moaning at specific times, loud coughing, pots slamming, water running, cupboard doors being slammed, fridge motor running all night long, and power tools, etc. Profiling. Targets will be observed and profiled long before they ever become aware that they're targeted for this sort of harassment. Profiles will be created on targets by following them, following people close to them, breaking into their homes and going through their possessions, listening to their calls, hacking into their computers, gathering information from friends and family, seeing where they like to shop and eat. What are their weaknesses? The things that they like and dislike. What can you bribe them with? You can't fucking bribe me. What can you blackmail me? Yeah, we'll try it. I don't really give a crap. How can you bully them? How can they best be controlled? This will all be used to put together a profile of the target and then get them into situations for their detriment and entrapment. Then, of course, there are random encounters. Like the random dogs that run loose on the random, not so random dogs. This will be people on the street who you randomly and unexpectedly run into. It looks completely natural, and it seems to be a random encounter. They might ask for your phone number after engaging you in conversations, ask you out, or just ask what you're doing. Anything from small talk to lengthier conversations. All with the purpose of finding out something about you or even getting you to do something. Ruined relationships. When targets are in a relationship, the informants will try to ruin that relationship. This could be friendships, family, or significant others. If it's a romantic relationship, they will find out what your significant other likes and try to get them to cheat or leave you. If it's a friendship, they will tell lies to come between you. Same goes for family. This is done so that targets will have no means of support once they do realize that something is going wrong in their lives. This is getting targets sensitive to the everyday stimuli. For example, colors, patterns, everyday actions, red, stripes, pens, whistles, coughing, clapping, waves, keys jingling. I don't know, guys. If it happens, I never experienced any of that stuff. For example, Joe will be mobbed at work, and as part of that daily mobbing, his coworkers will loudly cough at him every time they harass him by calling him names like loser, worthless, lame, demented. They will slander him and have others, as they're slandering him, show disgust by glaring and coughing at him. Out in public, they will follow him loudly and obnoxiously coughing at him. When he goes to stores, they will get others to do the same, and after months or years of this, Joe has become sensitive to the stimuli, and it can be used to harass him without the names of or the glaring looks. The association has been formed because of all the other harassment. Sensors. These are used around the home or the apartment of the target to let others know the location or room that the target is in. These can also be used on autopilot. For example, when a target trips a sensor, it can turn on a silent alarm or even the sound of running water. This effect can be used when targets are in the bathroom to let them think that their movements are being watched and observed. Then there are signals and symbols. Informants will also communicate with each other on the street using Stasi-like signals. Below are examples of the signals the Stasi used. These are not the current signals being used by the informants. So signals for observation are 1. Watch out! Subject is coming. They will touch their nose with their hand or a handkerchief. Number 2. The subject is moving on, going further, or overtaking. They will stroke their hair with a hand or raise a hat briefly. Number 3. Subject is standing still. Lay one hand against the back or on the stomach. 4. Observing agent wishes to terminate observation because of cover is being threatened. So what they do is bend and retie shoelaces. 5. The subject is returning. They will take both hands against their back or on their stomach. 6. Observing agent wishes to speak with a team leader or other observing agents. They will take out a briefcase or the equivalent and examine the contents. Slander. Informants will go behind the target's back and tell lies about them. Often the lies will consist of the target being into something illegal or is someone dangerous. Yeah, I'm so dangerous. I'm just a person of interest here. I'm so interesting. Or just needs to be watched for some vague reason. It's because I'm so interesting. For example, informants will say the target is a prostitute, a drug dealer, mentally unstable, a terrorist, a racist, a pedophile, a pervert. All of these things that I'm describing here are the people that are stalking you. This is a projection of who they are. They are prostitutes, like they're gift card whores, literally. They are drug dealers, and they're drug addicts. They're mentally unstable. I can prove that. They are terrorists. They are the terrorists. They're racist. They're hateful. They engage in hate crimes. They hate women. They hate intelligent women. They hate anybody who's successful. They hate men who can live alone. Anything that can be used to discredit the target. Oh, she's a crazy cat lady. She likes cats. Oh no, she's got roosters. She likes hens and roosters. Sleep deprivation. Depriving the target of sleep is a really good way of leaving the target stressed out. It's also a way of leaving them disoriented and functioning at less than 100%. Then the targets can be baited into reacting in public or getting into car accidents. Strange encounters or street theater. Targets may encounter informants who are acting very strange or an unusual. They all act strange all the time, guys. I don't know. This is weird. These informants will put on skits for the targets. The skits are usually so extravagant that the target will realize that the skit is directed at them. Oh, yeah, it's so sick and bizarre. For example, this could be as minor as public rudeness or people acting out a skit or skits for the target's benefit. There will usually be an informant nearby to see the target's reaction to the skit. The reaction will be recorded, and if it was a strong reaction, the stimuli or activity will be worked into the target's harassment. Telephone redirects, and this is why my property wasn't sold, because they're redirecting my phone calls. Covert investigations have redirected phone calls. This means that when you dial a number, informants can intercept that number call and pretend to be the service or repair person you were trying to call. Yes, this has happened to me. If calling the cable company, gas, or phone company, be sure you know it's actually them that you're speaking to. Always ask for a reference number or the name ID or badge of the person you are talking to. Theft, breaking into a target's home and taking small items, usually nothing of value. However, there are exceptions to every rule. Oh, everything is an exception here in Jackson County, Kentucky. Tracking. The targets are tracked by various methods. Targets are tracked using foot and vehicle protocols. Targets can be tracked via their cars. They can be tracked using their cell phones, laptops, and other electronic devices. They can also be tracked if they have an RFID chip in any items on their person. Vandalism. If the target owns property, this can be as simple as a broken door handle, knobs, actual slashing of tires. Informants will break in and do small damage to items in the target that the target owns. For example, if you buy a new sweater, they'll break in and cut tiny holes in it. Holes in your undergarments. Yep, they do that. If you go to a store to get a repair done, check for damages. This goes for boots and coats. Oh yes, I'm on my, let me think, 8th pair of boots since I'm living here. I mean, I would usually be able to have one pair for 8 years. No, I've had at least 8 pair of boots in 6 years living here. Coats, zippers, and the heels of long-heeled boots. The destruction of the target's personal items are meant to be degrading on a personal and emotional level. Voice to skull, V2K. If you're hearing voices, you might not be crazy. For example, you could be in a room with someone else and hearing voices and they will hear nothing. There are commercial devices such as audio spotlight that are out on the market that will directly transfer a beam of sound to one person. The beam is fairly direct and only the intended target will hear the words. What targets have reported is apparently more advanced than audio spotlight and can go directly through walls. It's through the wall radar. Wrong number calls. Oh, we all get that. Targets will daily get wrong number calls. These can be automated or they can be informants pretending to be making wrong phone number calls. Informants will use this method as part of their monitoring process to keep in constant touch with the target throughout the day. Don't answer those phone calls. Send them to voicemail. Okay, so I'm going to end here because the next, oh no, I'm not doing this chapter. Chapter 4 is obedience to authority. Yeah, right. That won't be happening in this lifetime. if my mother, if my mother, rest her soul, were still living, she would tell you that if she were to tell me to do something and I didn't want to do it, I just wouldn't do it. So I'm not one of those people that's going to obey just because you tell me to. I'm sorry. I don't care if you've got a badge. I don't care who you are. Obey? Obedience? What do you think, you're God? Forget it. I might skip chapter 4. No, we'll read chapter 4 another time. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. Please leave a comment down below. Have you experienced any of the mimicking, the brighting, the directed conversation, the B2K? Leave a comment down below, and I look forward to your questions.